Hi everyone and welcome to lesson 5.1 on meiosis. Our first vocabulary word is of course meiosis. Our second vocabulary word is egg. Now I know that this is not much of a vocabulary word or a new word to you. However, I want to bring about the singular and plural form of this word. In reproduction, this unit, we are going to see a lot of times the word ovum being used instead of egg that a female produce, and ovum is the singular form of egg. The plural form is called an ova, and this is used when you're referring to many eggs. You can say ova. Our next vocabulary word is sperms, gametes, haploid, diploid, somatic cells, and there are other words that we will encounter during this lesson. I do not really want to confuse you or put too much on your plate, so let's just stick with these few at the beginning and I'll repeat them again. It's meiosis, egg, ovum, ova, sperms, gametes, haploid, diploid, somatic cells. Eggs and sperms are referred to as what is called sex cells. And another word that can be used is gametes. So collectively, if you want to talk about eggs and sperms, you use the word gametes. Now, in males, sperms or gametes are are produced in the testes. So this first diagram is kind of a drawing of the reproductive structure of males, and this here males have two testes, and the function of these testes are basically for sperm production. So sperms are made in the testes of male, and in females, ova, if you could remember, these are the egg. It is produced in the ovaries of females. Females have two ovaries, and here is where ova or ovum are produced. If you look at a diagram, which is more of a realistic kind of scale comparing sperm and egg, the eggs are quite larger, many times larger than a sperm cell. It is said that the egg is the largest cell in our body. Well, in females, not our body, but in females. So how are sex cells or gametes different from our body cells? Now let's recap a few concepts that we probably have learned before. Is that if this is our body cell, this is our cell. Inside of our cell have what is called the nucleus, and inside of the nucleus contains chromosomes. Now chromosomes basically are where our genetic information are stored. All the things, all of our traits, our hair color, our eyes, everything, all these information are stored in pairs. And humans is said to have 23 pairs of these chromosomes that store every single um, genetic, what should I say, genetic information about you. And a part of a chromosome is called a gene. So these cells and all body cells have 23 pairs, and this is in human. Different organisms have different amount, 23 pairs or 46 chromosomes. These 46 chromosomes are stored inside of our nucleus. Now, each part of our body have a cell, and these cells of course contains the nucleus, and the nucleus consists of 46 pairs of chromosomes. So all body cells, and another word for body cells, are called somatic cells. So these cells include cells of our hands, cells of our heart, cells of our um, all tissues and organs. These somatic cells have 46 chromosomes and are said to be diploid because they have all 46 chromosomes. Now, when a female produces an ovum, only 23 chromosomes are found there, and that is said to be haploid because if you notice, it is half the amount of chromosomes. Now, gametes or sex cells contain 23 chromosomes. So, if a male and a female gametes come together, for example, the egg, which contains 23, and the sperm that contains 23, it equals to 46 chromosomes. And that is where fertilization happens, and the 23 and 23 comes together to form the embryo, which contains the normal set of chromosomes. So just reflecting back to our question, how are sex cells different from our normal body cells? Well, sex cells are different from our body cells because they contain only half the amount of chromosomes. The full set of chromosomes are said to be diploid in number. Half the amount of chromosome is said to be haploid in number. Another word for our body cells is called somatic cell. Another word for our sex cell is gametes. So how does meiosis happens is that we have first of all our body cell with our 46 chromosomes. And what happens in this stage is that these 46 chromosomes, they multiply or they replicate themselves. And then you have a double strand of chromosome. Now, chromosomes that are of double strand are in are that sorry, and that are in pairs are called homologous, HOMOLOGOUS, homologous chromosomes, CHROMOSOMES. So what happens is that the first step of meiosis is that the chromosomes replicate and the homologous chromosome starts to pair up. As you can see, they pair up based on length and the genetic information that they have. So once the homologous chromosomes pairs up, they undergo something called crossing over. Now, crossing over leads to genetic diversity. So they pair up, and I'm going to just use this little diagram here. A part of one chromosome cuts off and is attached to the other half. Now, when it is attached to another half, another part of the sister chromosome, what happens is the genetic information is shared, and this leads to diversity, and this answers many questions as to why our brothers and sisters look very different from us because of this process called crossing over. Now, after the chromosomes cross over, a second set of division happens, and here we will have 23 and 23 pairs of chromosomes. Eventually, you will have 23 chromosomes in each daughter cell that is produced. There is definitely a better video explaining this and using a lot of technical terms. All you need to know is that we start off with 46 chromosomes, and this is of course with human beings. Different organisms have different numbers of chromosomes they start off with, and then the chromosomes replicate, crossing over happens, um, the homologous chromosomes then starts to divide into two, and then each one divides into two more, and each daughter chromosome, that is made contains 23 chromosome, which is haploid number of chromosomes. So for those of you who are extremely good at math, you're thinking, okay, if we start off with 46 and replication happens, shouldn't we have 92 chromosomes here? Um, I don't want to say that you're right, but let's look at what is happening. So when we have, say we have 46, and I'm not going to draw 46, but we have all these chromosomes. When they replicate, they pair up. So when they pair up, it is still 46 chromosomes. However, there are 46 pairs at this point of chromosomes. So that's why I use 4n, and it's kind of loosely used here. But this 46 chromosome, um, because now we have this 46, it will divide into two. You'll have 46 here, 46 there, and these is, so here they're doubled, here they are single chromosomes again, and then this 46 will then divide into 23, 23, 23, this one will divide into, and 23. So we're only concerned mostly with what our beginning number is and what our ending number is. So in males, we start off with 46 chromosomes, and each sperm contains 23 chromosomes. 4 sperm cells are made by each division. However, in females, yes, we do make 4 um, egg cells. However, only one of them mature to become an egg. The rest of them is called something called polar bodies, or it is non-functional, and they just dissolve. They are not used. So only one egg matures, whereas one of the 4 eggs mature, whereas all 4 um, cells from the male eventually becomes a sperm. So let's try some problems. Say, for example, a rat somatic cells contain 42 chromosomes. How many chromosomes are found in the rat ovum? Let's use our vocabulary. So, somatic cells are body cells, and the body cells contain 42. Therefore, when they divide, an ovum will be egg, it will be each egg will contain 21 chromosomes. And you might wonder, how do we have that number? Let's go back through the phases of meiosis. So we have 42, and then remember that they replicate. So we'll still have 42, but we'll have 42 pairs here. And when the 42 pairs divide back, we'll have 42 and 42 single, and then each one will divide, so we'll have 21, 21. This will have 21, and this will have 21. So again, if the rat somatic cells contain 42 chromosomes, the ovum or the egg cell, each one will contain 21 chromosomes. So this question is something that normally comes in the region when you say 2n. So 2n basically refers to the diploid number of chromosome. So if the diploid number of chromosome is 46, what is the haploid number? Well, haploid means half, so this will be 23 chromosome. Simple as that. So the math of this is that n, which is represents the sperm, plus n, which represents the egg, will give you 2n. If we use numbers for humans, it will be 23 plus 23 equal to 46. Say for example, in the rat scenario, it will be n will be 21 plus 21, so the sperm of the rat and the egg of the rat will be 21 each, and when you combine that, you will have 46. 46 is said to be the diploid, D-I-P-L-O-I-D number, and 21 is said to be the haploid, which is half, haploid number. Another word that is used is monoploid, monoploid. But this is rarely used, but just keep it at the back of your mind. If you ever see something as monoploid, it is the same thing or equals to haploid. Let's quickly look at a few more vocabularies, and one of the words that I want you to know is gametogenesis, sorry. And gametogenesis is basically the formation of gametes. And gametes, if you know, they are sex cells. So meiosis is basically just the beginning of forming a sperm or an egg. Yes, gametogenesis is basically, meiosis is basically the whole copying and ensuring that the chromosome numbers are correct and you're ending up with a um, haploid number. However, there is more to forming a sperm than copying those numbers. So meiosis is the first part. The second part um, is where the sperm starts to mature, and the sperm will start forming a tail, and it contains a head, and it also is packed with mitochondria. All of these things that are happening after meiosis is said to be, for sperms, it will be spermatogenesis, spermatogenesis. And for eggs, very similar, is that a lot of development happens after meiosis where an egg forms. And there is a lot of cytoplasm that is in the egg cell, and this is called oogenesis. So to recap these vocabularies, gametogenesis is the formation of gametes. The formation of sperms are called spermatogenesis. The formation of eggs are called oogenesis. So spermatogenesis or oogenesis, if you just want to use one word, gametogenesis, it happens after meiosis. So after the division and we have our cells with the number of chromosomes that we need, um, there is some development to that cell, and the additional or accessory parts are what is called gametogenesis.